Anxiety is one of the worst feelings. It can be so heavy and really drag you down. I know that when I feel very anxious, I become paranoid. I have a lot of self-doubt. My confidence struggles. I don't feel good about myself. I worry about what everyone and anyone's thinking. Anytime I do something, I think it's never good enough. And sometimes I get to the point where I can't believe I have these feelings about myself that I have, or how negative I am towards myself. Not only that though, anxiety is like a whirlwind. So when it starts, it's fairly small, but you feel it, and then it builds this momentum and it sucks everything into it. And the more momentum it has, the stronger it gets, the harder it is to cope with. And there are times where even going to work is really difficult, because every time I look at somebody or someone uses a different tone with me, I start to analyze it and I question it and I become consumed with it. And I have this feeling like a sense of doom, which is really, really awful. And if you have anxiety, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've often thought, how do people live without meditation? Because as a human, as a woman, I know that I suffer a lot of negative emotions and I can become very self-critical, and then anxiety can start like that and whip into that whirlwind within a few hours. So how do people that have anxiety like that, how do you get by without meditation? I'm really curious. So if you do know how, if you have a different way, please put it in the comments below. I'm so interested to hear how other people cope with it. But this type of meditation that I do, I was taught 15 years ago, and I was studying to become a hypnotherapist, and I learned from a really great teacher in South Africa, and he taught us these wonderful ways to do meditations and hypnotherapy, and this one has really stuck with me, and I've used it so many times I wouldn't be able to count on all the fingers and toes that my whole family have together. So let me get into it so I don't carry on rambling. Follow these steps. You might want to write it down because there's quite a few steps. But once you've done it once, you won't really need to refer to those steps again. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is take yourself into a nice meditative state. So focus on your breath, get yourself nice and calm, and then and relaxed, and you will know exactly what it is that you want to experience. If you're very new to meditation, I recommend learning a little bit more about meditation first, practicing first before you take yourself on a guided meditation, because it's quite important you understand the feeling. We do have, I say we because the Bright Life Project is with my sister and myself, we do have some meditations on our website which you could try as well, which are guided, that can help you get started with this sort of thing. Getting back to the guided meditation for anxiety. So you want to get yourself into a nice meditative state, you want to relax. And I always like to imagine going down some stairs or going in an elevator, because it helps me deepen that meditation. So, and every time I go down, say I decide to go down 10 floors, I say to myself, relax. Even deeper with each step or with each floor, relax. And imagine myself relaxing even more throughout my entire body, allowing stress to leave my body. And as I'm going down, relax even deeper. You're feeling more and more relaxed. And I just talk to myself like this, to help myself get into a deeper, deeper, deeper state. And then the next thing I do is I imagine myself in a place that exists purely for me. This place I can go where I feel so secure. Everything in this place exists so that I can be successful. And it sounds a little bit selfish when you put it like that, but everything in this place is a part of you. And every part of you can want success for you. So I look at all these things and I realize in this special place that we are all one, and we all want everything and each other to be successful. So when you put yourself in an environment where everything and everyone around you wants you to be successful, you're immediately uplifted. You're immediately unafraid to make mistakes or confess feelings that maybe you shouldn't have, because you know you're safe, because everything and everyone around you is going to try and help you to get to an important point where you feel comfortable and happy and relieved of any emotional distress. And when I'm in this place, I then find a spot where I can go and sit. It's usually the same spot. that I make myself really nice and comfortable. I always have like a blanket or like a big cushion, and I feel really, really comfortable there. I can admire the whole place from that one spot, and I take myself even deeper. So I imagine sitting there, getting nice and comfortable, and I close my eyes and go deeper, deeper, deeper. Relax more and more. And then you get into this wonderful, deep, deep, relaxed state. And in that wonderful, deep, relaxed state, you can then move into this meditation which helps you cope with anxiety. So the first step is to just be with that feeling. Just allow it to be. Remembering that everything within us, every feeling is a message. Everything within us wants to help us. It wants to communicate with us. But we have learned not to listen over our lifetime. So instead of them becoming signals and information, they become pain points. So if I just relax and I allow this feeling to be, and I know that this feeling is actually there to help me, but because I've ignored it, it's probably gotten too strong and overwhelming, and that's why it's causing me suffering. But I allow this feeling to happen, and then I try and intensify that feeling. I'm intensifying it because I want to identify where on my body I feel it. And then when I realize where I feel it, which is often with anxiety, I feel it in my chest, I put my hand to my chest, or I put my hand to the place where it is I'm feeling that feeling. Just to touch it, just to anchor it, just to ground it, just to make it more concrete, to say this is what it is, this is where it is. And then I imagine if it were a color, what color would it be? Often, for me, anxiety is black. And then once I realize the color, I said, what if it were an object? What would the object be? Now, when I'm having these, when I'm very anxious, there can be many different objects. But one of the objects I have had frequently is like a magnet, like this big black magnet. And it could be the shape of a person, or it could be just a ball, or the shape of an anvil. But it's this big black magnet that's really heavy and looks like, obviously, like metal-like, exactly like a magnet. And I take this thing out of me and I put it in front of me and I look at it. And I again remember that everything is there to help me. Everything is there to send me a message, to communicate. But something's gone wrong, and something else has happened, and it's taken on some other kind of form. And I just need to understand it. I just need to know what it is it's trying to communicate to me. So I engage in a conversation with this object. Now it's in my head. Obviously, I'm not talking to it. I'm saying, but I'm communicating in my mind, and I'm saying, what is it that you? What are you doing? What are you trying to tell me? If for some reason the subject is not communicating back to me, I will just describe it. I will say it is a black object. It is a magnet. I can see a lot of shards of metal around it, and then it starts to make sense for some reason. So either it's going to talk back to me, or I'm going to explain it to understand it. And what I found with this particular one, and it'll be different for you, it'll be different for everybody, is this is one particular one that happens quite often, is this big object will say to me, I'm trying to draw negative stuff away from you. I'm trying to draw negative feelings that you have and negative thoughts that you're bringing into our life. I'm trying to draw them away from you, but you're pulling in so much that it's just all sticking to me now. And now it's become too big and too heavy, and I can't cope. And because of this, I can't help you. And so I get this sense of this object, which started out trying to do something good, has now ended up being this big, heavy feeling, which is attracting more and more because it's getting bigger and bigger. So I understand, oh, okay, I see. So what you're saying then is, if I just let it all go, then you don't need to pull anything away from me anymore. And then you don't have to fill up with all this rubbish and heaviness. And that's exactly what happens. So then I'm like, okay, let's let this go then. And all these shards just disappear and move away, and they almost like go into sparkles, and they go and enjoy the space. I know this sounds like crazy stuff, but meditation is so visual and so imaginative, but it's so incredibly powerful. And all of this thing starts to happen, and then this object gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then this is a really important step in it. Then you need to be so grateful. So you want to look at this object that originally was hurting you, you thought was a bad thing, and say, thank you so much for what it was you were trying to do. Thank you so much for trying to help me. And then thank you for communicating this message to me. Thank you for forcing me to pay attention to this, because I don't want to draw negative stuff into my life. I don't want to focus on bad thoughts or nasty feelings or have judgments about people or opinions that I don't really deserve to have about people, because I don't walk in their shoes. And then when you've done this gratitude, you can say to that thing, what do you want to be? Like, where do you want to go? What do you want to be in this world? And then often the piece will communicate to me what it wants to be. And sometimes it wants to fly away. Sometimes it wants to spread into a million different bits and go and explore the space itself. And every now and then it even wants to become a part of me. So it wants to be, instead of being a bad negative thing, that draws thoughts or negative thoughts towards itself, or opinions or words or whatever, it becomes something that draws positive things. So it might be like, oh, well, I want to go back into your heart and I want to point out all the good things I see. So this thing becomes whatever it wants, and then suddenly you feel so free. You don't have that heaviness in your chest, it's gone. You've got this new good thing about yourself, or you've let someone go that can run wild and be free and just have a good life and enjoy themselves, which is really, I guess, what we want for everyone else in our life, like people we love. We want them to feel free and to feel good about themselves. So when you do wake up from this meditation, you feel so light and you feel so good, and you understand so much more about this feeling. And now you also don't want to draw anything negative in, because you are the reason you were feeling that horrible way before. And now you don't need to feel that. You don't need to attract the negativity. You don't need to observe it. You don't need to see it. You don't need to feel it. And you can just have a really great day. And I found that will often stay with me for a while, that really good feeling. And it's only when I don't meditate, if I go through periods of time where I don't meditate for some reason, that I notice it starts to come back. I really hope that helps you, because it's amazing for me, and it really helps me to be sane, but also to remember to love and to be grateful and to want good things for other people as well. So good luck. Send any comments if you want to understand more, or if you have any great experiences yourself. I would love to hear how you do, and also how you cope with anxiety, if you've got another way that's really effective.